I think we have a pretty good idea of what the success level for Shang-Chi, at least the financial success level for Shang-Chi, is going to be for the future. Now, it is going to be released on Disney Plus on November 12th, so that could give it a little bit of a bump, but I'll talk about that a little bit later on, why I don't think it's going to be that big of a bump. And it's crazy because a lot of people were coming after me. A lot of people were very angry with me for my prediction for the box office for this movie when, for one, it's simply the fact that I don't think the movie is going to make a lot of money. It doesn't mean that the movie is going to be bad when I'm predicting that a movie won't make a lot of money. There's a lot of different factors that went into Shang-Chi where I thought that it wasn't going to make a lot of money, and it is not making a lot of money. We'll go into that later. We'll go into all those reasons later on, but there's a lot of different reasons outside of the fact that I just think that it wasn't going to be a good movie. It ended up not being a good movie, but I think that was kind of, my expectations were kind of altered whenever a lot of people were coming back. People like Robert Meyer Burnett, who I do trust, who I do value their opinions, saying that the movie is the best comic book movie since Logan. John Campea, people like John Campea saying the same thing. It altered my expectations for the film, no doubt. I went in, whenever the movie was first announced and in the lead up to the film, from the marketing, all that stuff, I had very, very low expectations. Whenever those first reviews started coming out, when Robert Meyer Burnett, like I said, I value his opinion a lot. When people like him start to say that it's the best comic book movie since Logan, that's when I start to get a little bit excited for the film. That's when my expectations start to go up a bit, and they're not at rock bottom like they were whenever the marketing first started for the film. So whenever I saw it, I was very disappointed because I didn't expect it to be the best comic book movie since Logan. I didn't expect that at all, but I did expect a pretty decent film, and I just think that I was robbed of that. I don't think that that was a good film at all. I think that it was pretty much just mindless anime style action. It was just a lot of mindless action with a lot of flashback scenes that almost put me to sleep. But anyway, I think there's a lot of different reasons why this movie flopped. But first, let's check out the actual numbers for the movie so far. This is Box Office Mojo for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. As you can see, the worldwide is only $363 million so far. Now, a lot of people are making a big deal because it passed Black Widow. But let's take a look at Black Widow's box office as well. 378 worldwide. Now, you might think that, that this 378 is more than this 363 worldwide, but I believe when they're saying that it passed Black Widow, they're talking about domestically, because the worldwide box office for Shang-Chi, and I'm not saying that this is, right. I'm not saying that this should be a direct comparison to other MCU films. Because of this reason, the Shang-Chi box office worldwide is going to be lower because it's not getting released in China. China is not releasing Shang-Chi, as you can see right here. Why Marvel Shang-Chi might not be released in China and what it means for Hollywood's future. China is, for whatever reason, getting fed up with the MCU, and they're not releasing Shang-Chi, and they might not release Eternals either. That's going to be a big problem for not only these couple of movies, but for Marvel and really for Disney as a whole, because they've been trying to capture that Chinese audience for a long time. And with the MCU, it seemed like they had captured it. With Star Wars, they're still struggling. With Star Wars, they can't capture the Chinese audience, but for whatever reason, certain franchises, certain IPs can capture that Chinese audience very easily. The MCU was one of them. The MCU was pretty big in China, so the fact that they're losing out on that Chinese box office is going to be a big problem for the MCU going forward. But it is coming to Disney Plus on November 12th with 363 worldwide. Let's just start off with that. That is not good, and China is a big part in that. China might have given them an extra $100 million, but even so, that would only be 463 million. You need 450 million. What the box office experts are saying, you need 450 million to break even on this movie, factoring in the marketing and the delays and all that stuff. You need 450 million. 463 million would only be, a net positive of 13 million. That's not a success. And a lot of people are getting mad at me for my prediction on this movie, and my prediction was 650 million. And I was saying that that would have been a success. I said that 650 million would probably be on the low end of a success. I think it would be very close to a flop, but I thought that the movie could even make 750 million. So the fact that it's only going to make maybe 450 million and might break even with that November 12th Disney Plus bump. Because let's just say, I think on the high end of the Disney Plus bump, it'll probably get an extra 50 million, but I think it's more realistically going to get an extra 25 million, something like that, maybe even lower than that. Let me know in the comments how much you think it's going to get off that November 12th Disney Plus bump. I think it's going to get around 20 to 25 million, but it could, let's just assume, it's going to get an extra 50 million. That might put it close to around 430 million by the time that happens. I don't know how much this is going to continue on going down. I don't know, because the legs seem like they're pretty strong for Shang-Chi. I'm not going to lie. They seem like they're pretty strong, especially in comparison to the other Pandy movies that have come out, especially in comparison to, the stuff that came out on streaming. Obviously, the theater releases are going to be better going forward if these movies want to break even or even make money. Like Spider-Man No Way Home, it's going to make money. There's no doubt about it. It's going to make $1 billion. Hopefully it could break $1 billion. That would be really good for the future, not only of the MCU, but also for the future of Hollywood. I want to see Hollywood obviously survive. I want to see theaters survive. And I think Spider-Man could definitely get us back on track. Shang-Chi was not the movie to do it, and obviously it isn't the movie to do it. But like I said, there was multiple reasons why I thought that this movie wouldn't make even close to $1 billion, which I think even in a post-pandy world, you have to be making at least $800 million to be considered a success when it comes to Marvel movies. Because I think a lot of these movies, even though we're in a post-pandy world, Spider-Man could make 1.5 billion. You know, that's a very realistic possibility. Same thing with Doctor Strange, that could definitely make $1 billion. Same thing with the next Thor movie, the next Guardians movie. Those could all make $1 billion, but a movie making 450 million, that's a failure. That's a flop. You know, and I predicted, people were mad at me, like I said, for predicting 650 million, and it's gonna make around more than 200 million less than that. So the fact that people were mad at me for predicting that, saying that there's no way it's gonna flop that bad, that says something. The fact that it's going to be 200 million less than that, and it's not simply because the movie is bad. People have to realize the fact that the movie doesn't do well at the box office doesn't correlate to the movie being bad. Correlation doesn't always equal causation all the time. Simu Liu under fire for alleged controversial Reddit comments. This played a part in it. People started to boycott, and if you see right here, I said this way before the movie came out. Way before the movie came out, this article was written, and I think that it's not that big of a group of people. But when you add all this stuff together, it does, it does affect the box office for the movie. No doubt about it. When you add all these different boycotts, all these different reasons for the movie not being able to make money, then the movie's not going to make money. There's so many different reasons. And like I said, while these aren't the biggest groups of people that are boycotting for the Simu Liu alleged controversial Reddit comments, and then this one is because they're boycotting because the movie was released in theaters only. Shang-Chi fans are not happy right now. Even as theaters opened, they were just pretty much mad because the film was, anti-safety or whatever they were saying. So they're going to boycott the movie because it's released in theaters only. And then you have China just straight up not releasing Shang-Chi, which like I said, which I explained earlier, is going to be a big hit to any Marvel movie, or really to any movie that Disney is releasing nowadays, because they pander so much to China, because they want to capture that Chinese audience so badly. So whenever a movie of Disney's isn't released in China, it's always going to cause big problems. And this one is no exception. And I don't think that this movie is going to break even. I honestly, if I had to give my honest prediction, I don't think that this movie is going to break even. 363 million worldwide. That's not even past Black Widow yet. It's not going to break even. This movie released solely on Disney Plus. There was no theatrical release for Black Widow that I know of. So if you do know of a theatrical release for Black Widow, I guess it does say 4,000 theaters had Black Widow in it, but I didn't have any theaters with Black Widow in it by me. So let me know in the comments if you had Black Widow by you, because I didn't know that it even released in theaters at all. But apparently it did. But anyway, it was primarily a Disney Plus release, which is not going to be good financially for these individual movies. Obviously, these studios have something in mind where they're playing the long game. They want to get a lot of signups for Disney Plus, for HBO Max, whatever it is. They obviously have a plan. They obviously have a plan to make money off of those releases. But when it comes to the box office of these specific movies, it's not going to do well. And whenever you have Shang-Chi released in theaters, obviously it's to make money on this singular specific movie. That's obviously the reason why you're releasing in theaters. You're not trying to play the long game with a Disney Plus release. So whenever this movie is still struggling after all this time to get past Black Widow, that's a problem. And like I said, it's going to get a small bump when it comes to Disney Plus on November 12th. I don't think it's going to be that big. Like I said, max 50 million, probably more like 20 million. But let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. What do you think about this Shang-Chi absolute failure in the comments below? If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow me on Twitter, the links to that will be in the description as well. Thank you for watching the video. Hope to see you in the next one.